And now the next case.
All litigants involved in the case of Herrera versus Ponce, step forward, please.
27-year-old Sabrina Herrera is suing her mother, Christina Ponce, for the return of car payments on a 91 Camry. Sabrina says her mother illegally repossessed the vehicle.
Ms. Herrera, this is your mom.
Mm-hmm.
According to what I read in your complaint, you purchased a car. It was titled in your mother's name. She paid for the car.
No.
She didn't put down any money on the car.
No.
Did you put down any money on the car?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
How much did you put down on the car?
$1,000.
Okay, and this was your agreement. Your agreement was for it to really be your car. You were going to make the monthly payments on the car.
Right.
Even though the car was titled in your mother's name. But it was your car, and as soon as the monthly payments were completed, the car would be yours, the title would be yours.
Right.
At some point, you and your mother had a falling out.
Right.
You had made all the payments on the car.
Right.
Your mother doesn't dispute that. You had a falling out, you'll tell me why. It was something over your daughter.
Right.
And your mother took back the car.
Right.
So you want your mom to give you back all the money that you put into it because she breached the contract she had with you.
Right.
You look at me as if I'm not talking.
I'm sorry.
Okay. So that's what the case is about. Your mother says that you did, in fact, breach the contract with her because she allowed this car to be purchased in her name, using her credit. The car was for you and for her grandchildren. And she was annoyed that, A, you were disrespectful to her when you had this argument over your daughter. And B, she saw the boyfriend. I assume that that's the boyfriend.
That's my
driving,
husband.
Well, it's a new husband, right?
Got married in April.
She was annoyed because she saw him driving the car. And he wasn't supposed to be driving the car. It was just for you. Okay. Now you're going to tell me when you took back the car and under what circumstances, Miss Ponce.
Okay, when I bought my daughter the car, she was a single parent with 2 kids. I never knew that she got married. And I paid for the insurance. I went in there. I went to the credit union. I put the money down. What she did is the previous car I owned, I gave to her for her and my grandkids. As soon as she sold that car, she put the rest of the money on the car payment. Now, I was telling her not to be letting him drive the car. I have the insurance in my name. I've been paying the insurance payment since I got the car for her. He has no insurance. He had no license. And every time I seen him drive it, I would just tell her, Sabrina, he's not supposed to be driving.
How do you know he has no license?
Well, because my daughter said, being that he has kids, the judge took the license away because of child support. And being...
Stand up. Take out your wallet. Open your wallet. Take out your driver's license.
I don't have a license.
Sit down. Why did you let him drive the car without a driver's license?
He has a permit.
Stand up. Go over there. Take out the permit.
It's in there.
See it?
I have it. They obviously didn't put it in the files.
Listen to me. You don't have it here to show me. You don't have it. When the state takes away your driver's license because you failed to pay child support, they take it away because they want to punish you. They don't take it away and give you authorization to drive, especially when your mother's covering the car on her insurance. I was very sympathetic to you, I have to tell you. When I read this, I was about to say to you, you can't take the car away because the boyfriend was driving the car. She's making her monthly payments. She's entitled to, allow a boyfriend to drive her car occasionally or a friend to drive as long as the person has a license and is acting responsibly. But you can't let somebody without a driver's license drive your car. Can't do it.
Yeah, but he has a permit.
Listen to me. When the state takes away your driver's license because you failed to pay child support, they take it away so that you can't drive a car.
But she never even cared before about that.
Now she cares.
Now she cares.
Now she cares. I'm getting less sympathetic with you. Let's get to this incident. Then, Miss Ponce, you say, you were babysitting for your granddaughter?
Yeah, my granddaughter, she means a lot to me. And she came to spend the weekend with me. And that day I had to work. I'm a caterer. I work pretty much a lot. And we went shopping. When we got back, my granddaughter was eating. She broke her tooth. And when she broke her tooth, I called my daughter up and I told her, Sabrina, you have to take Destiny to the dentist, that she's crying because her tooth was hanging. And she says, well, I don't have time, I'm leaving. And I'm going, well, where are you going? And she says, we're going to go out to eat. And I go, well, can't you just take Jesse, you know, through a drive-through and you take your daughter to the dentist? And she said, no. She says, we want to sit down and eat. And then I said, well, you know what? You got your priorities mixed up. Don't ever have any more kids if you can't take care of my baby girl.
Perfect.
Then she told me, she goes, well, you know what? She goes, I'm going to take her to the dentist. But she goes, then I'm going to come and get her. But you're not allowed to see her no more. Don't call her. And don't even, and see her, you know, I can't. My baby girl means everything to me.
How old is she?
She's 7.
Have you seen her since?
Yeah, she allowed her to come with me on Thanksgiving.
Great. Okay.
Well, the thing is that she called me up and she told me that my daughter broke her tooth. I asked her, can you please, I go, can you take her? Because she's really close to her and she can tame her. She can relax her. I can't because she's just really too close to her. And I said, you know what? I said, can you please do it? And she said no. So she told me.
Just a second. What day of the week was that? Do you remember?
It was a Sunday.
It was a Sunday. Okay. Were you working?
Yes, ma'am.
You just come home from work. What were you doing?
What was I doing? We're getting ready to go eat dinner.
What had you been doing during the day?
Just
Nothing.
cleaning. Just cleaning and stuff.
Nothing. You were
taking care of
hanging
my
around
kids.
your house. Why should your mother, who's worked on Sunday, take your daughter to the dentist when you've been doing but hanging around with, what's his name?
My husband.
Whatever, Mr. No License. What do you do for a living?
I stay home because I'm not supposed to really work right now because I have a heart condition.
How many children do you have?
I have 3.
How old are they?
7, one just turned 4. That's my son, and 5.5-month-old.
When were you diagnosed with a heart condition?
When I was pregnant with my daughter.
Is this the 7-year-old?
No, the 5.5-month-old baby.
And what does he do for a living?
He was working, like in the freezer of 7-Eleven.
Who was paying this $221 a month?
I was.
From
well,
what?
at the time, he
From
was
just
working.
a second. From what?
At the time, he was working. Now he's
Listen,
not working.
now you have 3 children, and he doesn't look like he can earn enough so he can feed himself. So you're not telling me that he had an extra $221 a month to pay for a car?
But at the time, he was.
You get
He
any
was
assistance?
working.
Do you get any assistance?
Yes. I got
That's my baby. Then you say, I get assistance.
I get
and it's from the assistance that you were paying the $221 a month.
But actually, it was from him.
Actually,
Because he
he was
was
paying
working.
for your car. You're not
Actually,
entitled
he
to
was
the money
working.
back from your car. You can't afford a car. You have 3 children and
But I have my
one
receipts
person
and stuff.
working.
But I have my receipt showing that I...
Your mother does not have to maintain a car while you let somebody drive the car who has no insurance. And the insurance is in her name. You did the wrong thing.
But
You're not getting your money back. Do you understand?
But
Period. Your case is dismissed. Goodbye.
I put every single payment down. I put $221 every single month, and I can't believe her.
I think it's fair.
But you know what? That's it. She's never going to see her grandchild again. I don't care.
I don't think she should take my granddaughter away.
That's not right, and she knows it's wrong. She knows it's wrong.
It's really upsetting for me because I'm really close to my granddaughter.
I asked her because I knew she would, because I know she can tame her more than I can tame her. Because she feels more comfortable. Like she said, she's close to her.
I think her husband or boyfriend has a lot of influence on her.
That's it, because if she won't give my money back or the car or anything, it doesn't matter. That's it.
Well, whenever she's at my mom's, sneak over there.
She's no longer my mom. I don't care.
She's just being a brat right now, but of course I would help her. I mean, she's my daughter. I mean, that's why I'm upset.
Tina Smoot is suing ex-boyfriend John Bambino for a loan she made him while he was between jobs. John claims Tina manipulated him with her money.
All rise. This is case number 515 on the calendar in the matter of Smoot versus Bambino. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Ms. Smoot, you and the defendant were dating, according to your complaint, and you loaned him some money.
Yes.
Mr. Bambino acknowledges that you gave him money, but he said it was just that. It was a gift. There was no indication when you gave him this money that you expected repayment of the money. You were sort of helping him out at a time that he needed to be helped out financially. He's counterclaiming because he says that in a fit of rage, you damaged his car, his clothes, and he also believes that you harassed him. That's his counterclaim. So tell me when you met him.
I met him in August of last year.
And when did you lend him the money?
In December of last year.
Tell me about it.
John had lost his job and he couldn't pay his rent.
When did he lose the job?
November.
What kind of job did you have, Mr. Bambino?
Car salesman, ma'am.
How long did you have that job with that company?
7 months.
Before that, where did you work?
As correction officer for the state of New Jersey.
How long were you working there?
15 years.
Go ahead.
In December, I was coming into some money through a lawsuit, and I had extra money, and, you know, he asked me to lend him his rent money for the month of December, and that's what it was. I lent him the money.
How much was it?
It was $1,200.
$1,200 for rent. Go ahead.
And one bill is $452.07.
What was that for?
A home entertainment system.
Who bought a home entertainment
that
system?
I bought for him, that he was supposed to pay me back for.
No. Miss Smoot, listen to me carefully. If somebody doesn't have money to pay his own rent, then you don't buy him a home entertainment center and expect him to pay you back. You're not a baby, right?
Right, Your Honor.
What else?
Cable bill, $100. I have a check that he wrote, that I gave him a blank check to take to the doctors that has his name in the memo for $80.
Did she give you a blank check to pay a doctor?
Yes, ma'am.
What else?
A gas bill for $100 in December.
$100 even?
Well, it was, his gas bill is way more than that, but I only paid $100 on it.
Go ahead.
2 checks for food, one for $87.40 and one for $42.71.
Made out to whom?
To Acme.
Did you use those 2 checks?
No,
No,
ma'am.
I wrote them.
He doesn't know you for that.
Okay,
What else?
that's it.
Okay, Mr. Bambino. Ball is in your court, sir. Where are you working now?
Chevrolet 73.
So you're back to work?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. So Ms. Smoot says that you said, if you pay my rent, as soon as I get a job, I'll pay you back. You say that's not true. Tell me what happened, Mr. Bambino. By the way, how old are you, sir?
43.
Have you been married?
Yes, ma'am.
You have children?
I have 2 daughters,
How old are they?
17 and 24.
When did you last live with them?
I have custody of my younger. Actually, I've had custody of both since my divorce in '98. I have custody of my youngest now.
So how are you supporting the children?
My mother helps me out, but I mean, I just ran into a tough time between, like, let's say the Monday before Thanksgiving, and I started my new job January 5th.
Right.
So it was approximately 6
So
weeks.
what you're telling me is your mother helps you out.
She helped me out in that particular time frame, yes, in the beginning of January.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
I met Tina, as she said, in the middle of August. We started the date.
Would you try looking at me
I'm sorry, yes,
rather
ma'am,
than keeping
sure.
your eyes closed? It's
I-
disrespectful.
I'm sorry. I met her in the middle of August at a club over in Philadelphia. Approximately 2 weeks later, she accused me of staring at a woman on the track. She told me to get in her Jeep. She started to give me a ride, which was the ride from hell. She just started driving down the interstate, doing approximately 70, 75 miles an hour, weaving in and out of traffic.
But after that, you took money from her.
No, well, ma'am, it's...
Listen to me. After that, you took money from her. So I'm not interested in a ride
I didn't
from
take
hell.
money.
Yes, you did.
She gave me the money, ma'am.
That's not what I said. I said you took money from her.
Yes.
After the ride from hell, which would have put me in a different county from somebody like that, you took money from her.
Yes.
Right. Did you think that the story you were going to tell me was going to make you a sympathetic character?
Not at all.
Good. Let's get to the money. Come on.
Oh, well, after several pretty bizarre things that Tina pulled between September and December, I tried cutting off the relationship several times. Tina's texts me 15, 20 times a day, calls me, begs me to let her back into our relationship, start our relationship over.
Is this your child?
No, ma'am. She's a witness in this factor. Tina, I let back in approximately 7, 8 times between September 1st all the way up to the February 11th. She just constantly says I'm cheating on her.
You want to know something? You want to tell the sad story? Go on Dr. Phil. Right. I want to know about the money.
The money. Tina would manipulate things and try to get me to let her back in. And after 3 or 4 weeks of constant texting me every day and please begging me to let her come back and start the relationship over, I did it several times. Tina...
Bambino, listen to me carefully. Get to the money.
I am?
In December, she may be desperate and she may find something about you attractive. Mr. Bambino, I do not.
I know that.
You are 43 years old. You look every day of it.
I know.
And then some. And Mr. Bambino, and then some. I have children who are 43 years old, sir. That's not you. That's the first thing. Second thing is, let's get to the money in December. Excuse me, you date him?
No.
Perfect. Get to the money.
All right, I let Tina come back over in early December. She laid $1,200 on my couch and said, pay your bills with this. I don't care when you give it back to me, just pay your bills. She insisted. I did pay. I paid my rent with it, of course. The other things, utilities, she paid the $100 for the heating bill.
Mr. Bambino, how do you think Miss Smoot knew that you didn't pay your utility bills and that you didn't pay your rent? How do you think?
By communicating
By you
with
telling
me.
her.
Mm-hmm.
And it was that kind of casual conversation that inspired her to leave the $1,200 on the table for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Ah. And it was at that time that you were concerned about her bizarre behavior that she exhibited 6 or 7 times.
Over that 6-month frame, yes.
Now, you were a corrections officer for 15 years, sir. You knew that there were certain prisoners that were dangerous,
Sure.
right?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you were dealing with a dangerous prisoner, there were certain protocols. You made sure that you didn't put yourself in harm's way. That was your training, right?
Absolutely.
So here you're dealing with a lunatic, somebody who over the course of 6 or 7 months is doing crazy, bizarre things. So instead of cutting it off, you know where the courthouse is. So if you know if somebody is stalking you, somebody is annoying you, you go to the courthouse and you say, this person is stalking me, annoying me, I need a protective order. Instead, you had somebody stalking you, you took their money. No. You took their money. I didn't say loan, I didn't say gift, I said you took their money. Well, you did, you just told me that, Mr. Bambino. You told me she was stalking you, harassing you, doing all kinds of bizarre things, and she put $1,200 down on the table, and she paid your bills, and you took it. That's what you just told me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You have to be a nice man, Mr. Bambino.
A very nice man.
No, you're not. If she's a nut, what you're supposed to do is not be a cad.
And later today,
Did you say to your daughter, listen, you did me a favor, I'll take care of getting the car inspected, tagged. Did you say that to her?
No, I
That's
did
what
not.
a mother does. That's what a mother does.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Tina Smoot claims ex-boyfriend John Bambino owes for a loan to help with his living expenses. John is countersuing for harassment and claims Tina intentionally damaged his property.
Okay. Now, it is your claim, Mr. Bambino, your counterclaim, that the plaintiff damaged your property, harassed you, and damaged your clothing. You want to tell me when that happened and where?
First week in November, Tina was going to North Carolina for a wedding.
And when did she give you the money, sir?
December.
On a sympathy scale, sir, of 1 to 10, this is about going to be a -5, because what you're going to tell me is that she, again, acted like a nut, but you took money from her the next month, right?
Yes.
Keep going.
She told me she would let me borrow her Jeep. I dropped off my friend's automobile that I was using at the time, which was a female friend of mine for 18 years. Tina, in the process, went in the glove box and found out who the car belonged to. She took a pen and ripped the whole roof of the inside of the car, ripped the leather on the seats, took a soda and threw it all over my clothes in the back. That's the incident in November.
Why did you do that, Tina?
I didn't go to that extreme.
What did you... Tina,
What happened?
why did you do it?
I didn't do that, Your Honor.
Yes, you did. You did some of it.
I called him and told him to bring my Jeep.
What did you do to the stuff
I
in the
poured
car?
soda on his clothes. That was
You
all.
poured soda on his clothes. Is there a police report with regard to the damage to this friend's car?
No, ma'am, but I have pictures.
It's not your car.
It's not my car.
Did you fix the car?
Not yet.
Then you're not the person who can file this claim against Miss Smoot. That would be the car owner.
Yes, ma'am.
And as far as throwing soda on your clothes,
So what?
you owe her $1,480. You have to be a nice man, Mr. Bambino.
I'm a very nice man.
No, you're not. If she's a nut, you're not supposed to take advantage of people who are not balanced. If you actually believe that Miss Smoot is not balanced, then what you're supposed to do is not be a cad and take advantage of her financially. You're supposed to say, I don't want your money. I don't want it as a gift. I don't want it as a loan. I don't want you in my life. I don't want that at all because I don't think you're balanced. I think that you should take this money and use it well by going to see a doctor who will maybe give you some medication to help you feel better. Instead, what you did is you took advantage of her because you're not a nice person. Nice people don't take advantage of sick people. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1480. Your counterclaims dismissed. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It's all a big joke to him anyhow.
That's totally not the case. It's totally not the case.
She thinks that something's going on between us. We're just co-workers. She's a little insane. She needs some medicine.
That's what she thinks.
I feel bad because she's not a bad person. She's got 2 beautiful daughters.
First of all, I don't have 2 daughters. I have a daughter and a son.
I'm not going to date women ever again.
I will never let anybody take advantage of me again.
I'm going to do a background check and, do what I got to do.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Gossett versus Roten. Step forward, please.
20-year-old Andrew Gossett is suing his ex-roommate, Brandon Roten, for breaking their apartment lease. Brandon says he moved out due to a legal dispute with Andrew.
Where do you gentlemen come from?
Wichita, Kansas. Wichita, Kansas as well.
Who lost their luggage? You had no clothes?
No clothes, ma'am.
Let me see the outfit that you got yourself put together with. Not bad. Okay, Mr. Gossett, this is what your case is about. You, the defendant, and I think one other young man decided to room together. You signed a lease, and the defendant moved out 4 months prior to the lease terminating. Mm-hmm. And you have been taking care of his share of the rent for that 4-month period. The defendant says that your actions forced him out of the apartment, and therefore he's not responsible for the rent. When did you sign this lease?
August 29th, 2006.
The third roommate was who?
David.
Where is David now?
He's a full-time grad student at Lawrence. Otherwise, I would have him as a witness.
In Kansas?
In Kansas, yes.
You go to school as well?
Yes, I go to Butler Community College.
And you?
I do as well, Butler Community College.
Are you angry with each other?
We haven't really spoken in the past 4 or 5 months. I have no hostility towards Brandon.
You just want your money? Okay. When did you move out, sir?
I moved out in the last day of October due to certain circumstances and situations.
Okay. So you moved out and there was still 4 months left to go on the lease?
Yes.
And you understand, Mr. Roten, that it is your burden to establish to me that you had just cause to leave. Otherwise, you're really responsible for this money.
Yes, ma'am.
That fair?
I believe so, yes.
Ball's in your court, sir. Let me hear you.
Okay. September 29th of 2006, we were still living at the time with David and Andrew. We were proceeding up to Lawrence to actually check out KU and the nightlife as well.
KU.
Kansas University, I'm sorry. We stopped at a gas station to fill up and get some refreshments. Andrew Gossett actually had placed an alcoholic beverage on the dashboard of the vehicle. There was a park ranger.
You mean a beer?
A beer, yes.
I've heard of that. They did have beer in the Stone Age when I was...
The park ranger proceeded over to investigate the matter, check if we were all 21.
Investigate the beer?
Investigate the beer. He discovered that
Were you driving, sir?
No. No. They had to search the vehicle because none of us were 21, and they proceeded to find drugs and things like that in the car.
What kind of drugs did they find?
Marijuana.
Anything else?
No, just a bong with it.
What would that be?
Just what you would smoke it out of, I guess. I really don't know the
An
actual
implementation for using the marijuana.
Yes, ma'am.
For those of us who may not be educated. So they found marijuana. Where did they find it?
In the glove compartment of the vehicle.
Whose car was it?
The driver,
whose car was it?
Not one of ours. It was another friend's.
So what happened?
Well, after that, the cop investigated each one of us, asking questions. Andrew Gossett said that all 4 of us were responsibility for the marijuana, and the other 3 of us said no, that was not correct. It was Andrew Gossett's marijuana. That was the dispute between me and him.
Was it your marijuana?
No, ma'am.
Whose was it?
It was collectively kind of an apartment deal. I actually did not bring it into the vehicle. That was proven when this case took place.
So the case was tried?
Yes. Yes. And I pled not guilty.
And what happened with it?
I was charged with obstructive possession, which means I was in a vehicle.
Not obstructive. Constructive.
Constructive. All right.
Obstruction means that you were against something. Constructive means that even though it wasn't in your hand, you are charged with possession of it. Do you understand?
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
You're right.
Constructive.
Constructive possession. And that being said, there were 4 people involved.
Could you get to the bottom line?
Yes, when we all got out of the vehicle.
Were you convicted?
Yes, I was convicted.
Perfect. Were you convicted?
No.
How many people in the vehicle were convicted?
1.
Did you go to trial?
Yes, I did. I testified against him.
You testified against Mr. Gossett.
Yes, ma'am.
That might make it tacky to live together after that.
My 2 other witnesses actually testified for me, and under oath, when they made their testament to the police officer, they might have said it was mine, but all 4 of us were smoking it.
Well, you weren't all smoking it in the car, were you? You were?
Yeah.
So he didn't just find an open beer can in the car. The officer must have smelled this marijuana if you were all smoking in the car. Mr. Gossett, of all the people, you were the only one convicted, and I gather you were convicted on the testimony of Mr. Roten.
Yes.
You would agree that that might make it sort of tacky to share a room with him, right?
Yes. But he did move out before we even went to trial. Trial didn't happen until a matter of a month ago, so.
Well, but he moved out because there was going to be a trial, and he was being...
he moved out because he got his girlfriend pregnant.
Oh.
Well, somebody was actually responsible.
Just a second. When did you first, Mr. Roten, speak to the district attorney about testifying at the trial?
I believe it was December 31st, and then I actually went and testified February 12th.
But you moved out, sir, in October.
Yes.
So you didn't move out because of this. You moved out because of your girlfriend.
No, I moved out because there was a lot of tension between me and Andrew because he was actually making threats that he was the only one that got arrested and he's taking everybody down.
That's incorrect. It was not hostile at all towards Brandon. I understood the matter at the time.
Well, tell me,
he even
Mr.
helped bail
Gossett,
me out, so I did
Mr.
appreciate
Gossett,
that.
Tell me, sir, about the situation when Mr. Roten moved out in October.
All right, Brandon is very close with his family. I respect that. He was 18 at the time. He was not guided in the way of living on his own. I priorly lived at 2 apartments.
There's no such word as priorly.
Okay, yeah, I just made that up.
I know.
And I kind of noticed some instability after a month, which, made kind of my relationship and his, that there was tension between us.
What efforts did you make, Mr. Roten, to get another roommate?
I had actually been contacted with one of my friends acknowledging that I want to move in for you. I need a place, and I don't want you to be responsible for the rent. His name is Daniel.
Did Daniel move in?
Daniel did actually move in as a guest for a matter of, I think, maybe 11 days to 2 weeks. He actually owes me money now, too, for rent as well. And
so he didn't pay rent?
No, he didn't.
I have checks saying
he paid a portion of 1 month's rent and then...
Paid a portion of 1 month's rent?
Yeah.
That didn't work out. Did you know Daniel left?
No, I did not.
Did you advise him that Daniel left?
No, because at the time I had no contact with Brandon.
Well, how do you know Mr. Roten was aware of the fact that Daniel left? He found
because
another
I think
roommate.
Daniel and him have excellent communication in comparison with me and
Well,
Dan.
you don't know that, sir.
I know.
You know that. That's a problem. You see, I believe Mr. Roten had the obligation to help find a new roommate.
And in reality, he did not find the roommate. I did come to Daniel because Daniel got evicted from his previous lease.
So you did find another roommate?
Yeah, I found him, but he did not stay for long. He had been evicted from his prior lease. The bills added up, and Daniel couldn't afford it. He came to his grandma. His grandma paid. I mean, the bank account is through his grandma. The check that was written to me.
So you picked a bad roommate.
Exactly.
Well, then,
Mr.
Gossett,
where...
Mr. Gossett, if you picked a bad roommate, you cannot visit that on Mr. Roten. You see, if he left and you substituted another roommate that you thought would cover his portion of the rent, and you picked somebody that you knew was financially unstable, see, the only thing that Mr. Roten had to do, if you didn't do it, was to find someone else. He absolutely had to, under the circumstances, because I think that this tension, some of it had to do with this, and some of it had to do with the fact that is this your girlfriend?
Yes, it is.
Well,
fiance, actually, now.
Fiance. You are affianced? I've always wanted to use that word. Are you living at home?
No, I own my own house now.
Great. Who pays for it?
Me.
From what?
From my job.
Good. Do you have any other roommate in your house now?
I don't live there anymore. I live in an apartment with my girlfriend.
When did you move out?
When the lease was up.
What about the other roommate that you had?
Dave made it aware to me that he was going to be entering graduate school. He left for Lawrence, I think, a month and a half before our lease was up, but he did make arrangements to find a roommate, and that roommate worked out great. So
Great.
to cover
Well, you
his
made
portion.
arrangements to find Daniel, but Daniel didn't work out great.
But see, Daniel had actually lived with me 6 months before at an apartment, and he made all his bills, paid everything on time, was great
You
with
just
that.
told me that Daniel moved in because he had financial problems.
No, Daniel moved in because his lease was broke. Like, he got evicted.
You just told me that. You just finished telling me that, Mr. Gossett, that Daniel moved in because he had some financial problems because he got evicted. You don't evict a good tenant.
No, it wasn't financial problems. It was actually like gang violence or something.
You just
Some
told me it
people
had to
broke
do with
into.
his grandmother's bank account,
No,
Mr.
no,
Gossett. You keep
his
talking.
grandmother pays for everything.
Yeah, okay.
He has
Mr.
a,
Gossett, you picked a bad third roommate. It was really his responsibility to choose somebody, but if you chose somebody and that didn't work out, you cannot visit that on Mr. Roden. Your case is dismissed. Are you happy now? Are you happy where you are?
No.
You're not happy where you are?
Oh, I'm happy where I am now, yes.
Are you happy where you are?
Yes, ma'am.
Go back to Kansas.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Me being a college student, a hard worker, I pay all my bills on my own. I don't feel I should have to meet someone else's needs.
I think that, she obviously saw that rent was actually being paid and that the release was actually being paid, so there was no money needed.
It's just a financial matter. I can't afford to come up with $1,200 on my own.
There was many things going on that I didn't want to be a part of.
There was tension, but I mean, we didn't even find out I was pregnant until December. He moved out in October.
There is no relationship after this.
Just kind of seal an envelope, kind of. We just kind of part ways.
Bail bondsman Aaron McAllister is suing former client Elena Zadevich for unpaid bail money. Elena says Aaron was supposed to let her work off the bond.
Order, all rise. Your Honor, this is case number 483 on the calendar in the matter of McAllister versus Zadevich.
Thank you.
Parties have been sworn in, Your Honor. You may be seated.
What were you arrested for, Mr. Zadevich?
I was arrested on false charges of domestic violence that my ex filed against me.
I didn't ask you whether they were true or not true. I asked, what were you arrested for?
I was arrested on allegations of domestic violence.
Was it the first time you were arrested?
Yes.
Look at me. Was
Yes.
it the first time you were arrested? The answer is either yes or no.
No.
Better. When was the first time you were arrested?
Several years ago.
Having nothing to do with domestic violence.
Has something to do with domestic violence.
So you have 2 arrests for domestic violence?
That's correct.
Was it the same complainant in each case?
Different.
Different. Okay. You are a bail bondsman?
Yes, Your Honor.
It is your claim that you received a call from the defendant in jail. You responded. You bailed her out of jail. At her request, she promised to pay for the bond. She did not. You want your money.
Yes.
Defendant says you're a sleazy bail bondsman and she's not paying you.
Correct.
When did you receive the call?
Sometime in the middle of the night from the county jail.
What night? I'm not Karnak. What night would
I'm
you
sorry.
like to tell me it is?
July the 15th.
In the middle of the night. You were home?
Correct. In bed.
How did you get his number?
It was posted on the wall in the county jail.
You have your home number posted in the wall in county jail?
No, ma'am. It's an office number that forwards to my cell phone in the evening and weekends.
I see. I wouldn't think that you'd want your house phone
No.
to have a number. Okay. What did the defendant say to you when she called?
That she was in jail and she had to get out. She had to get to work the next morning. If she didn't get out, she would lose her job.
What kind of job do you have?
I'm an executive assistant.
For whom?
For a small media startup.
How long have you had that job?
Close to a year.
10 months?
Something like that.
Where did you work before?
I was managing a medical spa.
Where?
Walnut Creek, California.
Okay. You have any family here?
Just my 2 children.
How old are they?
6 and 2.
They live with you?
Part-time.
Who do they live with the other part of the time?
Well, my son lives with his dad, and my daughter part-time lives with her paternal family.
Maternal or paternal?
Paternal.
Paternal. So the father's family, father's parents with her grandparents?
No, his brother and his family, they live very close by, about 10-minute drive from where I live, and she's there a lot because I work full-time.
Okay. So you had to get to work at the media startup company when you called him?
Correct.
Did you tell him that you were going to take care of paying his bail?
What happened was I told him that I didn't have any money.
No. When you called him on the phone from jail, you told him I don't have any money?
Correct.
Is that right?
No.
Of course not.
Right. I wouldn't.
Of course not, because if you tell you, please bail me out of jail, but I don't have any money, and he doesn't know you from a hole in the wall, he's not getting out of his warm bed in the middle of the night. Madam.
Well, he did.
No. He did. The question was, did you tell him that you didn't have any money?
Yes, I did.
He says you didn't, and I'm saying I believe him that at that time you didn't tell him I have no money. Because if he's in business and he gets a call from a stranger, you are a stranger, right?
Correct.
That I want you to get up out of bed, drive over to the jail and bail me out. But by the way, I have no money. He'd say, call somebody else.
That's exactly what I said.
All right. I don't believe you. Go ahead.
We discussed that she had a CD, and the CD was maturing within the next 30 days, and that there would be ample
That you would have money.
Correct. In the CD to pay me out of the proceeds of the CD. And she didn't want to cash it in early because she didn't want to pay the penalty. I agreed to those terms within 30 days that she would use the CD.
Was this on the telephone?
That was on the telephone.
Okay. Because you did ask her the question about money.
Correct.
And when you said, do you have money, what did she say?
I have a CD.
Okay. So, did you tell her how much the bail would be?
Correct. 10%, $5,000.
Because she had $50,000 bail?
Correct.
That's a high bail for domestic violence.
It is.
Do you know why it was so high?
That's per the schedule in that county. That's always $50,000 for a felony charge.
It was a felony.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So we get her out. We memorialize our agreement in writing. She
Can I
signs
see it,
a
please?
bail contract and the agreement to pay.
Can I see it, please? Okay, so you signed an agreement to pay him the $5,000.
I had no choice. He made me sign it.
But
Madam,
listen to me very carefully, madam. You have a choice. Your choice is to stay in jail until the matter on which you were arrested for is tried. That's your choice. You chose.
We had a different agreement.
No. This is your agreement. This in here is your agreement, in the four corners of this agreement. And what I asked you was, did you sign this agreement? And the answer is either yes or no. Not
yes,
I was forced to sign it.
Yes, I did sign that agreement, but aside from that, there was an oral agreement that took place between me and Mr. McAllister.
I'll get to you in a minute.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Once the agreement's signed, I get her out of jail. She says, now what do? I live 30 minutes from here. I agreed to give her a ride. She's worried about getting to work, so I give her a ride. And it's about 30 minutes away. So during that time, she tells me the entire story about the arrest, and I attempt to be understanding that, she was arrested, and I'm sorry, and that's a bad thing, and you're dealing with a breakup, and, how she caught her boyfriend with his new girlfriend laying on the couch that she paid for or she picked out. And the entire time in the car,
Would you look at me when you're telling me this story, Mr. McAllister? Look at me. Don't look down there.
Sorry. The entire time in the car, she says, I'm not a stalker, I'm not a stalker. I go, okay, sorry, you're not a stalker. No problem. Okay, I'll get you to your vehicle. Well, the vehicle's parked 3 blocks away from the house where she was living or where she was arrested. So there's obviously something going on there. Anyway, I get her out, she signs the agreement, and she refuses to pay me.
Just a second. When did she sign the agreement?
Immediately upon release from the county jail.
Okay. And then you drove her to her car.
Correct.
And you dropped her off at her car.
Yes.
And she never paid you.
Right. I made
When
repeated
for the first time did you contact her with regard to payment?
Well, within 10 days, we sent her an invoice, just a reminder of the payment terms, and sent her 4 or 5 subsequent invoices that went answered with these rambling letters talking about...
Do you have a copy of the letters?
I do.
Can I see them, please?
Those are her letters to me and then my responses.
Based upon our discussion, these are your words, when he initially asked you for your money. Based upon our discussion, it was my understanding that we would discuss my opportunity to provide some type of service to you and your business in lieu of paying you $5,000 for a relatively risk-free, as you put it, bond. I am still awaiting the opportunity to make good on my offer to work for your company. As you were advised at the time the bond was posted, I have not, or do not have now, $5,000 fee that you are demanding. Given the above-mentioned discussions that we had at the time of the unsecured bond was posted, I now consider your correspondence demanding $5,000 to be intimidating and threatening. What are you, crazy?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
On the way to my vehicle, he makes comments about my physical appearance, and he says, a pretty woman like you, maybe we can work something out.
And later today...
What's wrong with you? Don't you have any pride at all?
Yes, ma'am.
Where is it? Show me. Where is it?
I left it at the house.
Right.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Bail bondsman Aaron McAllister says former client Elena Zadevich owes for unpaid bail money.
Please do not send me any more threatening letters. You knew my financial predicament at the time bail was posted. I still intend to honor my promise to perform professional services for you. You never promised to perform professional services for him. Your own letter says, it was my understanding that we would discuss my opportunity to provide some type of service to you or your business in lieu of paying for the bond. Given the above-mentioned discussions that we had at the time, I now consider your discussions aren't a contract, madam.
Let me tell you what happened.
Yeah,
because he's not telling you the whole truth. What happened? He bails me out.
Just a second. Are you telling me the whole truth? Listen, are you telling me the whole truth?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
About your children's living arrangements? You're telling me the whole truth?
We're not talking about my children right now. I want to tell you.
You mean you're telling the truth?
Listen
to me. You're telling the truth sometimes, and sometimes you can lie. And when am I supposed to tell the difference? You see, I knew that you were lying to me about your children's living situation. That you're not willing to discuss.
What did I lie about?
Listen to me. My question to you is, how am I supposed to tell when you're lying, and how am I supposed to tell when you're telling the truth?
I do tell the truth.
But you just lied to me today.
About what?
You lied about your children's living situation.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
How did I lie?
Oh, yes, you did. And you know you did. You know that they live with me part-time, they live with some part-time, they live here because I work. That's not the story. But that's a story you chose to tell me. Now, you told me that with the same veracity as you told me that you had another contract with him. And my question to you is, how am I supposed to tell when you're telling the truth and when you're lying?
What I'm saying is the truth.
Okay. Now I'm going to hear you, and then I'll tell you what the law is.
Okay. Well, he bails me out. He drives me to my vehicle. On the way to my vehicle, he makes comments about my physical appearance, and he says, well, it would be nice if a pretty woman like you worked for my company, doing some sort of marketing and promoting my company, and maybe we can work something out in terms of paying for the bail bond that he posted on my behalf. So when he dropped me off by my vehicle, and before he left, he made me sign the agreement that you saw after we had the conversation of me potentially working for his company.
Did you get what you said to me, madam? You just said to me, maybe you could work for my company. Maybe you could work for my company.
And
that's not an agreement.
No,
that's not. No. After that, nothing. You took that, and I believe that you said that to her. Well, maybe you could work for my company and do something. Maybe you said it to her. Who cares? It's not relevant. There was no contract.
I said I couldn't work for him full time as he proposed.
So he said,
no,
madam.
We can work something out, and you can work for me on weekends.
Oh, listen to me. Listen to me. You're making it up as you're going along.
No.
Yes.
No, I have a letter.
Because according to what you said to me, after you had that discussion, after, not before. You see, he said you signed this at the jail.
No.
You say I signed it after I had the discussion with him about working with him part-time, weekends, etc. If that was true, that's not contained in this agreement.
No.
And I believe, madam, that you are one smart cookie. And if he had this conversation with you where you made a contract with him, a contract that's enforceable, to work off the bail bond by working for him part-time, you would have put it in this agreement because you were already out of jail. So then you could either say to him, I'm not signing this, or you say, it's not the entire agreement that we have, but you didn't. You signed it and said, I promise to pay you $5,000.
Well, he told me right there that if you don't sign it, I'm just going to put you right back to jail. That's what he told me.
I don't believe you. You're making it up as you're going along.
No.
You're making it up as you're going along because if he said to you, you signed this or I'm going to take you back to jail.
That's what he said?
Your response would have been, well, then put in our agreement that I could work it off, right? Right?
I was very stressed.
Oh, listen, it's not the first time you were arrested. That's why I asked you the question before. It's not the first time. It's probably not the second time that you were arrested. So pay him his money. You owe him his money. Don't be a con artist. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I've offered to either work for his company
My family's been in business over 40 years,
in lieu of paying for the services.
and it didn't come from having criminal defendants work in my office.
It was his offer initially.
It's a bad deal. I'm sorry she had to go through what she went through.
So he reneged on the original agreement.
But I performed a service and I need to be compensated.
Peter White is suing his son's ex-girlfriend, 26-year-old Ashley Hickey, for the return of a computer.
All rise. Quiet in the courtroom. Now, this is case number 386 on the calendar in the matter of White versus Hickey. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Mr. White, your son is presently awaiting sentencing on a domestic violence case. Is that right?
That is correct, Your Honor.
And the defendant is the complainant in that case.
Yes, that is also correct.
The defendant and your son had lived together for how long?
Almost 2 years.
The sentencing is for a violation of a protective order. There had been a protective order in place, and he was found guilty of violating that protective order. Is that right?
He pleaded no contest, yes.
That's found guilty. Is he represented by an attorney?
Yes, he is.
Did the attorney give you any indication of how long he was going to be sentenced?
I think it's going to be probation and anger management, alcohol counseling.
How long has he been in jail?
He was in jail for 4 days.
Where is he now?
He is out of jail and taking a welding class, living at my house.
He has an alcohol problem?
Yes.
Are you angry with the defendant?
Well, I'm not angry with the defendant, but I feel that there was some property that was at the residence when she got the protection order that belonged to me.
According to you, you loaned them, a computer. She took it. Tell me about the loan of the computer, Mr. White.
Well, I build computers for a living.
I understand that.
Okay, and my son and the other son that lives at home, from time to time I will put a better computer into their place and then take the other one and use it for parts. And the computer that he had was something that I had put a lot of time and money into, and there's pictures of my grandchildren on there and so forth.
I want to know, Mr. White, what you said to your son when you built this computer in their home.
Oh, I said this is a loaner that you can use as long as you need, and when I need it back, I'm going to take it back.
Is that what you said to him?
Yes.
I don't believe you. It doesn't sound right to me, sir. When did you put this computer in their home?
It was before they moved back here from up north. It would have been probably October or November of 2005.
You get where I'm going, Mr. White. A loaner is something you say, listen, you need a computer, I'm going to loan you my computer, but I'll be back for it in a week. I'll be back for it in 2 weeks. But not I'll be back for it 2 years later, when I want it back because you have my pictures of my grandchildren on it. Do you understand what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying, sir. Now, you may be angry at her because she had your son arrested. I can understand that. Did you have him arrested because he assaulted you?
Yes.
You said that in a very tenuous way. Did he assault you?
Yes, he did.
How?
He tossed me across the room. He grabbed my arm and tossed me across the room.
Had he been drinking?
Yes.
Do you drink?
No. Not, well, occasionally with friends.
But you don't have an alcohol problem?
No.
How long have you known that his son had an alcohol problem?
Well, he drinks on a daily basis. I guess from the beginning I knew it, but it was my own fault for knowing and not doing anything about it.
Was he working at the time that you lived together?
When we first started living together, yes, he was.
And then?
And then he got laid off and was on unemployment until it ran out.
Were you working?
Yes.
Steadily?
Yes.
Same company?
Well, when we lived in Petoskey together, I asked to be laid off because I wanted to move back to Bay City. I didn't know if we could find work right away. And when I got there, I had a really hard time finding work. But I did find a work at a daycare. And I worked there until I found a better job, which is where I'm at now.
How long have you been working at this company?
Since August.
Sounds like a nice young lady, sir. You must have been thrilled that your son, who has an alcohol problem, hooked himself up with such a nice young lady.
Should I respond to that, Your Honor?
I'm waiting for an answer, sir.
I was not happy that he was with her, and one thing I am grateful for about this whole mess is that he's not with her anymore.
Is that right?
Yes.
I'd like to hear why.
Because she has a history of being what my wife refers to as a gold digger, and she's taken people to the cleaners more than once, and it's documented, and she's doing it again this time.
Documented where? You mean because she took your rebuilt computer?
No. Because the first guy that she had a kid with that she wasn't married to, she got money out of him. And then the second guy that she had a kid with that she wasn't married to, she got thousands of dollars out of him.
And what'd you get out of your son, who was unemployed most of the time?
Well, they were co-signed on a house, and she owns all that, all the furniture that's in there, and he hasn't got one thing back out of that either.
He wasn't working.
Well, he has been working. In fact, he was working a very good job.
He's got an alcohol problem.
That's
Mr.
true.
White. When you have an alcohol problem at 27, he's 27?
He will be in a month.
Well, 26. When you have an alcohol problem and you're 26 years old, the likelihood of you amassing a great deal of money is de minimis. What I'm telling you is I spoke to her for a relatively short period of time. And you may be angry at her because she had your son arrested, because he spent some time in jail, because he's awaiting sentencing, which is going to include an alcohol program, which it should, and probably a little anger management as well. That doesn't give you license to sue her and to abuse the court system. What you're saying to me was, in 2005, 2 years ago, you put a rebuilt computer with parts that you put together in a home that your son shared with her. And you want me to believe that you said to your son at the time, I'm loaning you this computer until I want it back. And I'm telling you that common sense suggests to me, sir, that that never happened. You may have said to them, from time to time, I'll come and add new parts to it and give you a new one. That I can imagine if that's what you do, but not 2 years ago saying to them, this is a loaner. If you say to me, I made a gift of this computer to my son and she took it, different story. Then your son would have to be here and say, it was my computer, I want it back.
I understand what you're saying, Your Honor. And the only disagreement I would have with that is she took property that belonged to me and said she needed it for school. And yet I feel like if you take something that belongs to somebody else because you need it, that's not justification.
It didn't belong to you. When you give it away, it no longer belongs to you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
It's his fault if he's an alcoholic, and it's his fault if he got himself into legal trouble, for which he pled guilty, which means he did the wrong thing. Not once, but twice, that we know about.
And later today,
I want you to be quiet. I want you to let him dig this grave all by himself. Do you understand?
Yes.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Peter White is suing his son's ex-girlfriend, Ashley Hickey, for the return of a computer.
Now, you and your wife are angry at her because she caused your son trouble. Could have just as easily have split up without trouble, without police, without 4 days in jail, without lawyers, without bail, right?
I disagree, Your Honor.
You disagree that they could have split up without trouble? Is that what you're saying to me?
Yes, if we would have been able to get some of the stuff back from her, like this computer.
I'm not talking about stuff. Aren't you hearing what I'm saying? What I said to you, madam, was you would think as parents you would want them, if they were going to split up without police involvement.
I agree with that.
Well,
yes, Your Honor.
so why can't you just say I agree? You don't have to be argumentative.
I do.
The only problem is your son was a violent alcoholic. And the only way that she could get him out of the house and get her to leave her alone was to call the police. Because he wasn't leaving her alone. He's not allowed to put his hands on her. And he's not allowed to come back once there's an order of protection. That's not her fault. That's your son's fault. And you better put the blame where it belongs, because it doesn't belong with her, it belongs with him. And the quicker he grows up and figures out that he has two loving parents, but he better not disappoint them, because you're going to be there for him if he falls on his face. But don't blame other people. It's his fault if he's an alcoholic, and it's his fault if he got himself into legal trouble, for which he pled guilty, which means he did the wrong thing. Not once, but twice. More perhaps, but twice that we know about. And if your son wants to come here and tell me that this was a gift to him and she took it without permission, I'd hear him. But you did not loan her your computer. That's all. Your case is dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He's angry with me because his son is an alcoholic and he's violent, and he went to jail, and he's mad at me and thinks it's my fault.
I think she would do anything she could to make my entire family miserable and is making a career out of it.
My son was brought into this situation. It shouldn't have never been like that.
You can't fault the judge's logic. She was very logical, but there was a few issues behind the scenes that didn't really come to the fore.
I hope he does get help, and I hope he does become a better person.
Frank Automitis is suing his wife's boyfriend, Willie Albrecht, for filing a false police report and harassment.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Case number 2068, Automatis versus Albrecht.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Albrecht, I'm going to start with you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
You are the current live-in boyfriend of the plaintiff's ex-wife?
Soon to be.
Of the plaintiff's wife.
Correct.
Mr. Adamus's complaint is that as a result of you making a call to the police, he was defamed when you said that he was trespassing. It was a false call to the police, and he wants to be compensated to the tune of $2,500. That's what the case is about. So in order to make this whole thing in context that I understand, how long have you been living with Mrs. Adamus?
Since June of 21.
How long do you know her?
Since January of 21.
Have you ever been married?
Yes, I have.
When and for how long?
Previously to April of this year, I was married for 15 years.
So you were married when you moved in with Mrs. Adamus?
Yeah.
Legally?
Legally.
Did you own your own home?
I did.
With your then wife?
Correct.
Did she stay in the house?
She did.
Does she have a boyfriend?
Yes, she does.
Do you like him?
No, I do not.
Does he live in the house?
Not at this time.
Did he ever?
Yes, he did.
And you didn't like it?
No, I did not.
So I want you to understand that there is maybe a reason why the plaintiff resents you living in a house that he owns with his still wife, and you're living there. Do you understand?
I do.
Because you sort of have the same situation. You're kindred spirits. Just a minute. Actually, you're kindred spirits.
Except my 15-year-old son also lives with this young man.
So who cares?
Oh.
Well, that's all right. But you understand why he might be annoyed.
I do, but...
Okay. So now, understanding all that, I want you to tell me, because I'm not totally sympathetic with you, sir, because if you and your wife are divorcing, you're entitled to move on with your life, and so is she entitled to move on with your life. Where do you live? You live in an apartment?
I live in a condominium.
Okay. How long have you lived in the condo?
I've lived when we separated March of 2021.
And who do you live with?
I currently live with my...
No. Who do you live with is the question.
My older son.
And how old is he?
19.
And how many bedrooms are in the condo?
2.
And what about you? Have a girlfriend?
Yes, I do.
Ever stay over?
My house? No.
Do you ever stay at her house?
No.
Does she live with her children?
Yes.
And is she divorced?
Yes.
And she stayed in the house?
Yes.
You see how all these things go? It's just as the world turns. It's just what happens. I've been there. Understand it all. Can either make it hard or difficult. Who pays the mortgage on the house?
Paid off.
Okay. So you have one teenage child, your wife has the other.
Yes.
And how close is the judgment to divorce to being finalized?
Not close.
Not close. Is that for financial reasons or custody reasons?
Financial.
Had to do with the house?
Yes.
Okay. How much is the house? I'm just fleshing this out.
Speculating.
Probably because I'm a little bit of a yenta. Behind this purple robe is a little bit of a...
You know, with the housing market, being a CPA, you know, it's hard to say, you have to do, but I would say somewhere...
Why don't you give Sarah the address of the house, and we'll tell you what this estimate is.
California.
While she's looking that up, tell me when you and your wife purchased it.
2006, August of 2006.
And during the course of the marriage, were you employed all the time?
100%.
And what about your wife?
100%.
So you were both employed and both contributed to the house. Fair statement?
Yes.
Great. Okay.
It's 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. The estimate is $552,000.
And just for my own curiosity, what's the rub about the house?
The rub
Come on, it's simple.
The rub about the house is she's now went in and spent an ungodly amount of money on fixer-upper after I moved out and went into massive amount of debt. The house was fully paid off, and she's now in massive debt. She's put in fixer-upper.
No, don't look at her.
Okay, that's
look
what
at me.
Okay.
So she's fixed up the house after you moved out.
Correct.
And?
It's not a problem.
Just a second. So what's the problem?
There is no problem with the house. Meaning that, you know, we're still debating who's actually going to end up with the house. We haven't decided.
Well, you know, whoever wants to be in the house buys the other one out.
Exactly.
For $260,000.
Correct.
Okay? It would seem to me that would be easy.
I think so.
Okay. Now that I've satisfied the Yenta in me, I'm getting back to the case. All right. You called the police. This incident, according to what I read, Mr. Adamas, happened on November 5th?
Correct.
You went to the house to pick up your son?
Correct.
Okay. Was that a meeting that had been arranged before?
I have visitation every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks when?
Every other weekend.
Well, so was this a weekend?
Yes, that was one where I was going to go pick him up.
Okay. Had you spoken to him?
Yes.
And so he was expecting you to come at a certain time?
Absolutely.
What time?
Approximately there, we'd arranged about 7:15, that 7:15, 7:30 that night.
Okay. And you had visitation fixed by the court, and you had been enjoying that with your son for a period of time?
Correct.
Okay. What happened when you got there at 7:15?
Well, on that particular visit, my wife had taken his key to the house, and I had...
No. I told you, don't look at her.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Oh, okay.
I'm getting sympathetic with her. I just want you to know that.
Okay.
7:15, you went to pick up your son, and you were annoyed because your wife had taken your son's key away from him.
Correct.
And you thought your son should have his key because he was 15.
Yes.
And?
So at that particular time, I
No, don't look down.
Okay, look at me. I went into the house. I'd never been in that house since I moved out, and so I wanted...
How did you get into the house?
The door was open.
Okay, the door isn't wide open. You mean it was unlocked?
Unlocked.
Okay, so let's not say the door was open.
Okay,
the door was unlocked.
Correct.
Door was unlocked. You don't live there anymore. You live in a condo.
Correct.
Okay, did you ring the bell?
No.
Knock at the door?
Yes.
Nobody there's a bell.
Answered.
There's a bell.
There was a bell.
There's a bell.
Yes.
Didn't ring the bell. Open the door. Now, open the door.
Yes.
Your house, I own half of it. I'm going to ask my wife a question.
Yes.
Keep going.
Walked into the house. At that particular time, she is sitting there with my son. At that particular time, I asked her to get a copy of the key, and we became into an argument. She didn't want me to have a copy of the key. And I tried to explain to her, without a copy of the key, he can't get in the house. If I drop him off at odd hours, then you don't have to be home. So then she got upset. At that point, then I never met Mr. Albrecht before this time. He comes storming down the stairs. Mr. Albrecht is then, I think Mr. Albrecht's coming to beat me up. He is storming down the stairs. I have since learned that Mr. Albrecht...
Just stop.
Okay.
Just pay careful attention to me. So far, you're in the wrong.
Okay.
Now, let me just tell you.
Okay.
So far, from a legal perspective...
Right.
...and a common sense perspective...
Okay.
...you're in the wrong. I'll explain why in a second.
So I walk into that house.
We got past that.
Okay.
We got past that. So now you want a copy of the key, and she says no. I don't care if you want to give it to your parakeet.
Okay.
You're not entitled to a copy of the key.
Okay.
Let's start right there.
Okay.
And let's start with my first point is if you're going there to pick up your son for a prearranged visit,
yes,
you don't walk into the house. You have a 15-year-old son. A 15-year-old son has a phone.
I tried to call him, yes.
Oh, you tried to call him. What happened?
He said he was there, that he said...
Be very careful what you say to me.
Okay, you
was called your son.
And I called my son, be ready to go. He said, okay, I'm ready to go.
That was at about 7 o'clock.
Yes, approximately.
What do you mean, yes, approximately?
Yeah, I was probably on my way to pick him up. And so when I come up there, I call him on the phone.
Okay, he's ready to go.
Yes, are you ready to go?
Okay, so you walked in.
Okay.
You had no right to enter the house.
Did not know that.
Well, you had no right to enter the house. You knew that your wife changed the locks.
I did not know at that time she had changed the lock because the door was open. I had not been
No. Listen to me. You went there because... Mr. Adonis, you have to be a two-process thinker, sir, before you give me a lot of baloney. You knew that your old key didn't open the house. Otherwise, you would have said, your mother took away your key. I'll make you another key from my copy.
True.
True. Of course it's true. So, you know.
And later today.
I wasn't allowed to live with my dad and stepmom because they moved into a 55 and over neighborhood.
When?
They...
If you tell the truth, you don't have to have a good memory.
Frank Automitis claims his wife's boyfriend Willie Albrecht wrongfully called the police while visiting his own house.
Okay, if you needed a copy of the key to a house that you partially own,
Yes,
you would have had a key to the house.
correct.
You didn't need a copy to make because you would have had one.
Okay.
So you knew that your old key didn't open the house. Otherwise, you would have said, your mother took away your key. I'll make you another key from my copy.
True.
True, of course it's true. So, you know, so he called the police and he said you were trespassing.
No, he didn't say that at all.
What did he say?
He said he told me I was trespassing. Then he called on the phone, and when he's on the phone with the police department, he is telling them that I am now committing domestic violence. Now, that is a very serious charge. I mean, okay, we can debate about my access to the house, but when you call the police and say that I'm committing domestic violence, which is a crime in the state of California, that's a game changer. So
I want to ask you a question, Mr. Adonis. When you walked into the house and you saw your wife and your son, I want to know, when you walked in uninvited,
True.
Your first words were, I want a copy of the key. That's what you said. You said, I want a copy of the key. Would you read that back to me, please, Whitney?
I'll go with that.
At that particular time, I asked her to get a copy of the key, and we became into an argument.
So now you're in an argument, and you're a trespasser. Your case is dismissed. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Okay.
This court is adjourned.
Very, very shocking.
She's absolutely correct, as she usually is.
I had no idea this was going to blow up into World War III.
Because he's all about winning. He didn't get his way. He was throwing a temper tantrum.
I feel that he's just trying to do whatever he can to keep me out of the picture.
He lives by his own rules.
He just simply wants me out of the way so he could take over.
Let the courts decide.
It's always so unfortunate when people divorce. I mean, the story is this. I could have written the script without even listening to the people. But they have two teenage boys, 15, 19 years old. One's chosen to live with the father. One's chosen to live with the mother. Clearly, the son said to him, Mom took away my key. Mm-hmm. She clearly took away his key for a reason. Mm-hmm. I didn't even want to get into what the reason was, but clearly she took away the key for a reason. Otherwise, she doesn't look like an unreasonable person. Her boyfriend doesn't look like an unreasonable guy. And he was flexing his muscles. Mm-hmm. And the fight is over the house, because I gather that's the only real asset they have. Yeah. Anyway, unfortunate when people don't realize that they have to love their children more than they hate each other.
Raheem Henry is suing his ex-girlfriend, Erica Christian, for personal property and filing a false restraining order.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, everyone.
Case 2052, Henry versus Christine.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Mr. Henry, what you're doing is suing the defendant with whom you had a relationship for a period of time for the return of property that you had in an apartment that you once shared, and for filing a false restraining order, a false police report.
Yes, Your Honor.
The defendant says that you never lived with her, that you damaged her front door, and you filed a restraining order against her that was false. So, Miss Christian, I think I'm going to start with you.
Yes, ma'am.
According to the papers that were filed, you and Mr. Henry did, in fact, live together for a period of time up until...
October 9th.
Shh. Up until October 9th of 1921.
Yes, Your Honor.
Of 2021, 1921, hardly almost the year of my birth.
Yes, ma'am.
2021, when he left.
Yeah, without a note.
Just a second. October of 2021. Then the information that I have contained in these papers indicate that he sort of came begging back. And that was in February.
Yes, ma'am.
Of 2022. And you took him back.
Yes, ma'am.
And he was living with you. You were living in the same apartment from February of 2022 until what you say in your answer is June of 2022, when for some reason you were looking through his phone. Now, you were looking through his phone because he was acting weird or whatever.
Yes.
That's June of 2022. You understand where I'm going, Miss Christian, don't you? Of course you do. So from February of 2022, February, March, April, May, for 4.5 months, Mr. Henry and you occupied the same residence.
No, ma'am.
Your residence.
No, ma'am.
Well, that's what you say.
No, ma'am.
Oh. Well.
He lived in his own apartment in Merritt Island. When we got back together.
Here we go. On February 15th 2022, he contacted me and we got back together. He had his own place and never lived with me again. He would stay over occasionally and bring a few things to make himself comfortable. On June 21st, I went through his phone because he was acting weird. Where was he when you went through his phone?
He was asleep.
He was asleep where?
In my bed.
Okay. In the apartment?
Yes, I work at 6 o'clock.
In the apartment?
Yes, ma'am.
Of course, yes, ma'am. And I saw that he was setting up a date with the mother of his child.
Yes, ma'am.
I got upset, dropped off my son, and then came back home while he was packing. He told me he was taking my couch, TV, dresser, dining table, and everything in my apartment. So my next question to you is, who paid for the couch?
Me.
I'd like to see a receipt.
I don't have it.
Who paid for the couch?
It was a couple years ago.
Shh.
Sorry.
My brother, Adonis Glover, he's the one that gave me the furniture.
Just a second.
He gave me the couch, the love seat, the lamp, you know, a few other things listed on that document.
When did he give them to you?
He gave it to me before me and Miss Christian moved in the first apartment.
So let's go back. Where was the first place that you lived with the defendant?
Cocoa, Florida.
Okay. From when to when?
From 2020 October to February, March 2021, because that's when her lease was up.
Were you both on the lease in that apartment?
No, I wasn't on that lease.
Just you?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's the first place that you lived together?
Yes.
And why did you leave that place, Mr. Henry?
She was relocating to Titusville. I helped her move into it, and I moved in as well.
Does that sound familiar to you? Be very careful what you say to me, because when I say I read the papers and I have my own preconceived ideas of what this case is about based upon 50 years worth of experience, be very careful what you say to me.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Does that sound familiar to you?
No, ma'am, he is lying.
He is lying about what?
Adonis did not give him that furniture. Furniture was given to me, never was given
Just
to
a second. So we're not talking about the furniture now. We're talking about when you lived together. Okay. You first lived someplace together and then moved into another place.
Yes, ma'am.
So that sounds familiar. Am I correct that this is all about furniture?
No.
Mr. Henry, value of property. She's not paying you for property, for furniture that was given to you that was secondhand. You have to understand that. If I find that it's your furniture, you're going to go and get it.
Yes, that's what I was hoping.
Just a second. Yeah. You're going to go and get it. Yes. If you can establish to me that it's your furniture, you can keep it. You're not a married couple. I have a couple of issues with some things that I think that you did, because I actually think that you were together and he was packing his things, but then the police were called and you told the police that he didn't live there. Isn't that right?
Yes. Okay. Because...
And just a second. And that wasn't true.
It is true.
Tell me where he was living.
He was living in Merritt Island. Okay. Whenever we broke up in October, from October to February, we broke up. He reached out to me the day after Valentine's Day. We started talking. He was buying me gifts to try to get back in my good graces. He was doing all this extra stuff to try to get back in my good graces. We got back together. He never did move back in with me. He always did live in his apartment in Merritt Island. I work at 6 o'clock in the morning till 12 p.m. Sometimes whenever I didn't have a babysitter, he doesn't have a job, he would watch my son. That's why he had a key. That's why he had to spend the night bag and all of that. He would bring over his clothes, shoes, PlayStation, anything to make himself comfortable to stay the night. And whenever the police were called, they made him collect all of those belongings and leave. They escorted him off the property, told him that he was not allowed back. They told me that
well, that's because if that's what's happened, that's because they believe you, which I don't.
Okay. They definitely...
That's because they believe you, and I don't, because if he was trying to get back in your graces and he was living in his own space and you weren't back together again, why in the world were you going through his phone? If you were just a casual gal, and a casual gal doesn't let him stay with her son because, well, he was available and he wasn't working, so he watched my son and he stayed over. That all sounds like a whole lot of Who Shot John. And it was convenient for you to be able to say he doesn't live here. So all I want to know, Miss Christian, is this case is mostly about furniture, used furniture.
I also have a TV there.
Do you have the receipt for it?
Yes, I have a title.
I'd like to see it. You have a TV? in the house that belongs to him?
So the TV was...
Just a second. That's either yes or no.
No, the TV does not belong to him.
Who does it belong to?
The TV was a gift from him to me that I ended up paying off because he told me that when he bought it that it was bought cash. Whenever months later, I paid the TV off.
No, you didn't.
Just a shh. First, you're going to show me that you paid it off. I assume you have proof that you paid it off?
I paid him cash for it because I did not think that we were ever going to break up.
Well, you never thought you were going to break up. I thought he didn't live with you. I thought he didn't live with you. You don't buy TV for somebody that you don't live with, that you're not going to watch all the time.
Eventually thought we were going to move into a house together, Your Honor.
Your Honor.
Oh, don't tell me what you thought.
The TV that was bought was before I even...
Okay.
It had nothing.
That's a PlayStation and Nintendo.
Still property that's still at the apartment.
Okay. These are things that you say are yours.
Yes.
That you bought and paid for.
Yes.
Okay. All of these receipts.
All of it. No help.
Okay. So let's go beyond the point of now you're back together again because that's what I believe. He's in bed. You're going through his phone. You find he's making a date with the mother of his child. You get annoyed. You take your son to another location because you know that there's going to be an argument. You come back. There is an argument.
Yes.
He wants to take stuff, whatever. Police are called. You tell the police he doesn't live there. They escort him out. He wants his property now. You're not married people. Whoever paid for the property or whoever was the recipient of a gift for the property owns the property. That's simple. You know, that's what the law is. What you want me to believe that a police officer saw him kick down your door, go into your apartment, take property, and did nothing. That's what you want me to believe.
Raheem Henry claims his ex-girlfriend, Erica Christian, owes for personal property. Erica is countersuing for door damages and stolen property.
Okay, he has a Nintendo, a PlayStation, Sony.
Your Honor, he collected those whenever
Just a second. A queen mattress and foundation. And we have May of 2022. This is a TV, an LED TV.
Yes. That was my birthday present.
Nah. What? Okay, so I have titles to these things. You have titles or receipts for any of these things?
I don't have receipts for any of those things. He grabbed his PlayStation, his Switch, and everything whenever he left. The only thing that is in my apartment is the TV that he bought me for my birthday. May is my birthday. May 7th is my birthday. That was my birthday present that he bought for me.
Did you take your Nintendo?
No.
Did
I haven't had... Recently, that was something different. My storage unit was just broken into. This is why I don't have original documents. And she stole more of my property.
I don't know that. Did you file a police report?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did they ever find any of the property?
No, not right now.
Okay. The couch, whatever other furniture is there, is how old? I mean, it used to be used furniture, so it was...
Yeah, my brother Adonis got it when he paid for it. It was like a kind of like a bundle deal for the apartment, like a lot of furnishing. And I ended up giving him some money for, looking out.
That was 2-3 years ago?
Yeah.
And it was used furniture at the time?
Yeah. It wasn't nothing like brand new out of the seal.
How much did you pay for the TV?
I got taxed when I was like at $1,500, almost to $2,000, because it's a 60-inch smart TV.
Okay. So what is it that you want, is my question.
I want a court order to go get the rest of my property.
I have to know what the rest of your property is.
Yes.
You have the TV.
The TV, I have asthma medication, I have plantar fasciitis.
I want to tell you something. She threw out your asthma medication.
I believe so, too.
She threw out your asthma medication.
Yeah.
What else?
I have crutches. I have...
You have what?
Crutches and certain things. I have
PlayStation. Look, you don't need crutches. And the PlayStation, you said, was in the storage unit.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not interested in the storage unit. So far, I have a TV. What else?
My mattress, my bed,
you don't want
that
that.
I had
You don't
from the
want that.
apartment.
You don't want a mattress. Are you back with this lady now?
No.
Where are you living?
I've been living on the streets. I've been living out of my car ever since this been happening.
Where are you going to put a mattress?
I have a storage unit that I was going to just collect. I'm pretty much just trying to salvage what I can because I have things that's sentimental, stuff from my grandmother passing away, things that I really can't put a price tag on. I just want to be able to get a court order to just get the rest of my belongings.
I don't know what the rest of... I have a TV. You have no place to put a mattress that's a couple of years old. So you really don't need that. I mean, I can give you an order to get your mattress, but what are you going to do with it? It's just going to cost you to go get it and to store it. So you really don't need it.
I don't need it, but I would like to still get all of my property back. Like the stuff that I paid for, because I worked hard, I furnished
I'm giving
my
you
apartment.
your TV back. You're going to get the TV. I haven't figured out what else it is that you really want to make this whole thing worthwhile. I'm not giving you any money. Do you want the mattress back? You paid for it. You're entitled to it back. I can give you an order for the mattress and the TV.
Okay, and I also have electronics, like from games to controllers, just so much things that
TV, mattress, box spring. He's going to come and get it with a marshal, but he's coming to get it within 5 days from today.
So what if I pull up my bank statements to show that I gave him cash around the same time that whenever it was pulled up and everything? Because I did give him cash for the TV, for the bed, for actually more than he ever even put into it.
Let me explain something to you. Unless you have a check made out to him, I have a problem with somebody who lies to the police.
Ma'am,
I do. I have trouble with somebody who got very angry because her boyfriend, who was living there, watching her son, brought a TV, bought a mattress, bought a box spring, bought all of those things, and then you got annoyed that he was involved again with his child's mother. You dropped off your son someplace else to come back to have a fight with him. You did have an argument with him. Police were called. You said to the police, he doesn't live here.
Your Honor, he moved out.
He doesn't live here. That's what's here.
Your Honor, I never moved out.
He moved out in
We had a
October.
whole business together.
No, we do not. That business is in my name, and I have the receipts to that, too.
You have to understand something. I know what happened. I don't believe you.
Ma'am, I'm
you
telling
have
you
to.
the truth.
No, you're not. You're not telling me the truth. That when the police came, you said, he doesn't live here.
Yes.
He doesn't live here. Put him outside.
He took all of his belongings.
Did he take his... Oh, no.
May I finish? He took all of his belongings on October 9th. Whenever he left, without a call, without a text message, without anything, he broke up with me and left. He got back in contact with me in February. Mind you, we never lived together after that.
He was just staying over to watch your son when you got angry in June.
Whenever
it was June. It was June, 4.5 months later.
Which he would go back to his apartment. He would come. He never stayed more than a couple of nights consecutively.
Okay. He's coming to get his TV. He's coming to get his mattress and box spring.
Can we
You have a
talk about
counterclaim.
my counterclaim?
You have a counterclaim for damage to the front door.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? Damage to the front door.
Kicked my front door down.
Okay. When did he do that?
The day after he was police escorted, they told him not to come back, and the next day he came back and kicked my door down right in front of the police officer.
So he came back with a police officer.
And kicked my door down.
Just a second. He came back with a police officer, and the police officer was there when he broke into your apartment.
Yes, and they were going to take him.
No, tell me what they were going to do. And they did nothing.
Well, they trespassed him from my apartment complex.
I'm asking you, what you're telling me is, madam, which is why I have problems with you right from the get-go. What you're telling me now is he came back to get his property. The next day,
He didn't come back
with a police officer.
Yes.
And what you're telling me, a police officer, and what, you live in Florida?
Yes.
What you want me to believe that a police officer saw him kick down your door, go into your apartment, take property, and did nothing. That's what you want me to believe.
He didn't not do anything. He was completely confused on who actually lived there.
You're telling me a police officer was confused.
I'm telling you the truth. They were very confused on who actually lived there.
Bring me just a second.
They were trying to figure out if it was my apartment, his apartment. I had to go get my property manager, bring my lease that only had my name on it.
You don't understand. The last place you lived with him full-time, your name was on the lease too. Only yours.
Correct.
And you lived together. So now you took his lease again, just in your name, and said, he's not on the lease, he doesn't live here.
We broke up, though.
Okay. All right, he's coming to get his TV, he's coming to get his mattress.
Okay.
And I would like to see a police report. I would like to see...
I also have an iPad.
Just a second.
Okay.
You're done. You're going to get your TV, your mattress, and your box spring. Unless you have some sort of a police report for me, I don't believe you. I think that you were really angry, and you were dishonest with the police, and you felt that you were being taken advantage of.
Raheem Henry, has accused his ex-girlfriend, Erica Christian, of keeping his personal property. Erica claims he broke through her door and stole her belongings.
Now.
Yes, ma'am. I have my Chromebook, my iPad, my office supplies, things that were stolen from my company that whenever he kicked my door down and took things out of my apartment that day.
Okay, now let's get to the company. What kind of work were you involved with when you and the defendant lived together, Mr. Henry?
I did all the graphic design. I made the business cards.
Just a second. Were you involved in graphic design?
Yes, I actually went.
Just a second. Together?
No, it was mainly me.
And you did this over a computer, over a laptop?
Over a tablet, over my iPad.
So the business supplies that she's going to tell me about were for the graphic design business?
Yes, some of the supplies, but I never stole anything. I just had an iPad that I worked on, and I did graphic design on that was mine. I gave her cash for it. She found it on Amazon for me for a good deal. I was able to draw on it. She's never had access to it. There's always been my Apple ID on it.
Where is it?
I don't know. The day when I got escorted out, she came out of the apartment. I was going in to get the rest of my belongings, and she was saying, "I can't find my iPad. You have it." And I right then and there, I knew she found it and she took it and hid it. So the officer let me go inside to get my belongings. I looked in the closet where I had it wrapped up, gone. I walked outside and was like, "Erica, where's my iPad? I paid for that. I do work on it. That is mine." She said, "I don't know. It's gone. You must have it." Had this whole sob story about it. So still to this day, I have no idea.
Okay. What else?
My iPad that he stole the day that he broke into my apartment. My Chromebook that he stole the day that he broke into
Your what?
My Chromebook, my laptop.
What else?
I have my printer that he stole. It's all right here, 600. Do you want me to just pass it to you?
Did you take a printer?
I'm so sorry.
I wasn't able to leave with anything because they made me have to go through a civil suit because she started claiming stuff and saying it was hers and it wasn't mine. So the officer didn't even let me go back inside the apartment.
I want to know when you went in the presence of a police officer, whether you pushed down the door, kicked down the door or not. Unless I have a police report, I don't actually believe that a police officer...
He was my escort. I actually met him.
Did you take any electronics with you when you left?
I didn't leave with anything.
Okay, Judith, don't give me a whole bunch of papers. What I'd like to see is a police report or any other documentation that he took anything the day after you had him evicted from the apartment where he was living.
She didn't even have me evicted.
I have the receipts of the stuff that he stole.
He said he didn't take anything. He said the police officer was there, wouldn't let him take a printer. I mean, those are heavy electronics. Yeah. And that was the only other time he was in the apartment.
He also checked my car.
No, he didn't.
Unless you have some sort of a police report for me, Miss Christian, I don't believe you. I think that you were really angry. I think that you were really angry because he left in October. You took him back in February. You found out that he was not being straight up front with you, and you were dishonest with the police, which is all part of being angry and felt that you were being taken advantage of. According to you, you was together so much so that he bought you a television set a month before you threw him out for your birthday that cost thousands of dollars. That's what you just told me.
Ma'am, he bought that TV in February for me for an early birthday present. He bought it for an early birthday present and told me...
He's coming to get, listen to me, he's coming to get his TV, he's coming to get his box spring, he's coming to get his mattress. It's a court order. It's a court order with a marshal in 5 days from today. Do you understand?
I also have
5 days from
my
today.
Countersuit, my false police reports, the false injunction, everything that he did.
I have to tell you something. The same way that I'm not entertaining because it's over, this fib that you told to the police, which caused him to be... don't interrupt me. I'm not entertaining. You filed restraining orders against each other?
She filed...
Just a second. You filed restraining orders against each other. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have a restraining order against her?
Yes, but it was dismissed.
I said, do you have one currently? The answer is no.
No.
Do you have a restraining order against him?
No, ma'am.
Good. It's exactly what I thought. Because neither one of you have to say goodbye. You have to stop being angry, but you have to give him back his property.
I only wanted the restraining
TV, mattress, box spring, 5 days from today. Counterclaims dismissed. We're finished with this case. Thank you very much.
This court is adjourned.
I think that it was unfair.
I'm pretty much just happy it's all over.
Broke up with me without even a text message, a phone call, nothing.
She just took it and ran with it, and she decided she was going to take matters into her own hands and be spiteful.
Very single. No more relationships for a while.
It's definitely time to move forward, move past it.
The good one is out there, but I have not found him yet.
It's just nice that at least it's over. It's a weight lifted off my shoulders.
I sort of felt sorry for him. He probably deserved some of it, but you can't lie to the police.
I think she was being vindictive by saying he doesn't live here, he doesn't live here. He sort of kind of lives here if you're being truthful, but it's always a good idea to have your name on the lease if you can, because that's all the officer has to look at in a squabble like what happened between them.
Yeah, it's almost between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
If your name is not on the lease, you're not responsible for the rent.
Yep.
And I've usually suggested that when you're living together, you don't have both people's name on the lease, because in the event that you separate, who's going to stay in the apartment? And if you're the one who leaves, your former partner may say to you, don't worry, you leave, I'll take over the rent. But if they don't, you're still on the hook with the landlord. So
there's pros and cons to both.
But it's an exit strategy. Yeah. And people have to be smart enough. You see, he had an exit strategy. His name wasn't on the lease. Yeah. But then he needed it. But I think she was being dishonest. And I think his brother did, in fact, give him some old furniture. Who cares about that? It's from decades ago.
You only stay a few nights. You're not bringing your furniture.
Your couch, your TV. Yeah. Anyway, they just have to get over it and move on.
Put a period.
Put a period. Now he has his TV and he has his mattress.
Ahem.